Hi, I'm John J. Murphy, and I welcome you to the Change Mastery Show with my co-host, Dr. Pat. Together, we invite you to think differently about change, not as something to fear or resist, but as a powerful opportunity for growth, empowerment, joy, and life mastery. My vision? To help millions of people shift from victimhood to leadership, from ego to spirit, and from hesitation and resistance to flow. This is an opportunity for you to get out of your own way and experience life with more courage, confidence, humility, and higher purpose. Get ready. The Change Mastery Show starts now.
John J. Murphy. But when you think about change mastery, put a little star by his name because John is someone that hasn't just talked about this. It is when you think about the company he started, oh my gosh, I don't like 1988, a CEO of venture management consulting. He's specializing in what? What we really need to fix right now, and that is my word, John. I'm just going to say it right out there leadership development. I just got to say it. Yeah, we got to fix it. Operational excellence, high performance teamwork, all of the things that go into helping us become the best we can be. Us, company, individual, organization, family, parent, child, you name it. But this right here is at the crux of disappointment for people. This is at the crux of why people burned their vision boards after the movie The Secret came out. Why? Because we didn't talk to people about how it works. We didn't talk about change mastery. John has trained thousands of people over 50 countries. He is an executive consultant. He is the person people call. Now, when you are John J. Murphy and you're called, especially like us business consultants know, when you called into a company, you better create results. And if the company wants to receive, then you better have a solution, right, John?
That's right, Dr. Pat. Absolutely.
This is and I went through the experience. We sponsored What to Believe. We were part of the sponsorship team in Seattle when they came. And then so many things thereafter. And it looked like we were going down the right track. But people were not able to manifest in the way they thought they would. So today, stop wanting and start receiving. Receiving. What was it that had you pulled this episode and say, we got to talk about it?
Well, I hear it all the time. People are they're wishing, they're praying, they desire something different, and they get frustrated because they don't get it. It's just like, why am I not receiving? I've read the books, I've read The Secret, I understand law of attraction, but the problem is they think it more than they feel it. So the real key here is to not just think it logically and it makes sense and I deserve this and I'm worthy. Uh, do you really feel it at the deepest level, or do you feel perhaps deep down subconsciously, I don't really deserve it because I was raised to think that I didn't deserve it. I wasn't good enough. All I heard when I was growing up was no, stop it, don't do that, stay in line. And so we go through life with the brakes on because we're trained in fear, and so the real important shift, a couple of things I'm going to talk about in this show. One of the most important shifts is that when we desire something, we want something. Why? Is it for our own ego good? Is it a better job? It's more money. It's a bigger house, fancier car. It's better health. I've lost 10 pounds or 20 pounds. So I look good in front of people. I'm getting ready for a wedding and I got to lose 15 pounds. Going to a class reunion. I got to, if it's really about me, that's a barrier, huge barrier. So it's really got to be about we. And so the secret to my business, it's been 37 plus years now, is it's been all about giving.
Yeah.
It's never been about, putting my name on a building and a big famous brand. Matter of fact, I just read something about Warren Buffett. He just turned 95 and he's pledged 99% of his wealth as a multi-billionaire. He lives in the same house he did like
Yeah.
50 years ago or something like that. So there's a we focus. And so, Warren said, if I can help, lots of other people become wealthy, what does he get in return? Tremendous wealth. In my case, if I can help millions of people lead a more peaceful life, lead a life of joy. Joy isn't out there in the future somewhere. Like if I get this thing I want, then I'll feel joyful. If I don't feel joyful right now on the journey to whatever that is, if I don't put that vibration out, that coherence from my heart, it eludes me. It just keeps staying away. So a couple of quick things that are super important is we got to want it for a bigger reason than ourselves,
Mm,
whatever it is.
mm.
We're searching for something that if I find it, it will benefit not just me, but a whole lot of other people. And that's a big change for a lot of people because they grow up in this
Yeah,
ego. I gotta have it for me. I gotta look good in front of my neighbors. uh, no, stop it. It just relax. That's the other thing is, we've talked about this on another show,
yeah,
is you don't have to try hard to grow. It's the most natural thing in the world. I use the metaphor of a plant or a flower. It doesn't work hard to grow. It just does because it's supposed to. We're designed the same way. We're meant to grow and learn and prosper and become fuller and fuller and fuller. We have no idea what our real potential is. So what happens? We get in our own way. We actually block it. So the real secret to abundance and affluence is to feel it in the now as difficult as that is. I
yeah.
feel success right now, and I could give lots of examples about how this is developed over the years for me.
Yeah. I mean, I love this because let's talk about a couple of the things here, but the question is what's wrong with wanting things? And you just laid it out. But let's just also be clear. You can want a brand new car because now you got four kids and you're worried about their safety and the vehicle you're driving don't have seat belts. I mean, there are things that people do desire, right? And the higher purpose for things when we're aligned with that feeling. I'm going to give you an example. For whatever reason, UPN, my one of my founding companies, it just wasn't laid out right. And a series of comical things happened for me to say, stop trying to get a trademark on something you ain't going to trademark. And out of that came what you said. What's the feeling? What am I trying? What is it? And out of that was the transformation network has to continue beyond me and whether I live or die. How am I going to do that? Give me some guidance. I want to feel the stability. So, John, simple thing. I sat down with my trademark attorney and I outlined everything that the transformation network is becoming. I didn't think about wanting it. It just came to me. 82 categories I put in a trademark. And my trademark, Jamaica, said nothing. I just knew this is what this needed for us to sustain and grow to help people. I didn't start this. Uh, It came from a place of pain. That trademark, we had to provide specimens that covered a 25-year period. That thing got approved in 2 weeks without a blink. Now, I can't explain it except you can explain it, but I didn't have a framework for how that was so easy. And the corporation, the new trademark, the new corporation as well. But boy, I'm not unlike a lot of people. I'm really not. You know, some days I just want new rubber for my table tennis bat, John.
Well, another key is detachment. It's one of the most important spiritual laws or universal laws,
Yep.
and detachment means that we do not attach our feelings, our joy, our happiness, to anything external, anything we can't control. That includes our own children, our
Hmm.
spouse, our job, our assets. As soon as we attach our feelings of joy, of happiness, of peace to something we can't control, we live in perpetual fear all our lives. And that fear at the deep subconscious level blocks prosperity and success. We live, it's like going through life with the brakes on. So we're not even aware that we're afraid. We're not even aware that we're jealous of people who have great wealth, for example. Oh, look at that. That person's got that fancy car, that big house. The very fact that we might see that as negative is a clue to a barrier in our own lives. If we see wealth as negative in any way at all, it's a barrier. Here's another thing. If we see anything as negative in this world, it's a barrier. Anything.
Hmm.
Now whoa, are you kidding me, John? Our government's crazy. There's all these problems in the world. The environment's falling apart, global warming. If we go through life criticizing just like that, we block our own growth and prosperity because none of that is anything we can do anything about. It's just, so we have to accept what is. We have to let go of the past because there's not a darn thing we can do about it. And we have to feel good. We have to feel blessed, feel grateful right now, despite what's going on externally. We have that choice. And when we make the choice every day to feel blessed, to feel gifted, to feel good, we make a change in the world. We don't attach it to anything else. It doesn't mean we don't love our kids, we don't love our job, we don't
Yeah.
love our house and things like that. Of course we do. And we take good care of it and we respect it because maybe that's what makes us feel good too, by taking good care of the things we can control. But as soon as we shift control and blame externally, it shuts down the receiving. And we receive only what we put out. We put out criticism, we get more evidence that we're right, and we have more things to criticize. So we go through life bitter, and we're resisting what is, which is exhausting and aging. So when I started my practice, in 1988, uh, I didn't know what I was doing, and I had to just believe that I'd figure it out. And when times got tough, there was one time when things got tough during the summer, and think got really slow. The kids were out of school. What I do? I bought a motor home, Dr. Pat, and I drove the kids all over the country looking at national parks and this and
Mm.
that. And while I was doing that, while I was letting go, because it made no sense whatsoever. I could have put my head down and tried and tried and tried. I let go. The phone rang, and I got one of the biggest contracts I've ever had.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when we let go, some people can relate to this. You're trying to find a mate, a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and you search and you search and you go online nowadays and you do whatever you do, and you just can't find that right person. So finally, what do? You just give up for a while. You're just like, you know what? I just can't do this. And then somebody appears out of nowhere
Yeah.
who is ideal for you. That's the law
Oh,
of cause and effect. It's the law of karma. It's the law of detachment. It's the law of pure potentiality. These are universal capital T truths. These aren't things you just make up on your own. And when we align with a power much greater than our own, much greater than our own, when we align with that power, which is only good, it's only good. If you believe in God or source or whatever you want to call it, it's only good. There's no source for evil. There's no source for evil. Evil happens when we resist what's good.
yeah.
So if it's God's goodwill that we grow and prosper and live in joy and we don't, we're the problem.
Yeah.
We gotta take care of that and we gotta fix it. And so I think, how do you fix it when you don't even know you're part of it? It's so subconscious and unconscious, and you don't even realize you're getting in your own way. You listen to shows like this, you read books, you surround yourself with positive, great, brilliant people. And this is what I've done for decades now, is I surround myself with the most positive, bright, brilliant people change agents, change masters. And I mean, I could tell you stories all day long about how miracles just keep happening in my life. And I'm not making them happen, Dr. Pat. I'm allowing them.
to
I'm
happen.
letting them happen. That's a
I
huge
love this.
difference.
It's a big difference. And it's so interesting because I love what you just shared. You're at that place. And I know what it's like to be at that place, graduating from a degree and really looking at my career like no, I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that. And the pressure to go ahead and become something that I mean, it took me down. And in that moment of taking me down, and I mean emotionally take me down, really like, I'm not taking that big fat job. That doesn't feel right anymore. It felt right 10 years ago, but now it doesn't. Dial a wrong number. Had a view about wanting to help people in a positive way. Didn't understand that media wasn't doing positive talk. And one thing after the other showed up. And yet, I never understood it the way you're describing it today, because you see, the way you're describing it today gives people a system to speak. If you're grousing over a client or just a sidebar on a child in your family, then what are you blocking from yourself and that child? I mean, this is what we're talking about. So let's talk a little bit about detachment and the laws of detachment, because we understand attachment. We got that. We're like, nope, I am not going to blow the leaves today because blah 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 had all of their leaves blow into my I mean, come on now, right? But we
Yeah.
do it for so many things. We just don't understand the impact, John.
Yeah. I once heard a mother tell her daughter, I won't say who, um, that a mother's only as happy as her least happy child.
Wow.
And that is, if you ask me, that is horrible advice because
Wow.
you're going to go through life very unhappy. I mean, I have four children that, they get into trouble. They do. If I was, if I was attached to that, nope, and so I think, and I like what you said about the job, I think, because I'll tell you a quick story here too. This was in the early 80s. I graduated from Notre Dame with a degree in finance. I was an entrepreneurial kid, so I went to the business school to learn what I was doing, basically. Took a corporate job in Chicago. And 2 years into it, I was bored out of my mind. I couldn't, I thought I made a mistake. I mean, what was I thinking? Um, this education, this degree. I felt like I was in prison. So what did I do? I left. I made a change, and I found my way back into my entrepreneurial roots because it's who I am. I'm an entrepreneur, and I like designing my own job description. I don't want somebody else doing that for me. And I wanted to connect a whole lot of dots. I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to make a lot of money. I wanted to impact the world in a very positive way. Not a few people, but millions of people. And I had no idea how to do it. But it was a burning passion in my heart. By the way, the heart's a lot more powerful
Yeah.
electromagnetically than the brain, 5,000 times more powerful than the brain. So we're putting out a vibe mostly from the heart, not what we're thinking, but it's what we're feeling. And I always felt passion. I felt that somehow I'd figure out a way to do this. And I also was very aware I don't do it alone. Even though I had a solo business, I knew I had to work with a team of people, and not just people here on the planet, but a higher power. And I had to align. And little by little over the years, people suggested I write a book. Okay. I read a book about how to write one because I didn't know what I was doing. And this
I,
was long
I read
before,
10 of them.
yeah, yeah. And then that led to this and that and the other thing. And all the way through that, and I went through some tough times too. And I think maybe the audience can relate to this.
Yeah.
It was in 2009, 2010 period, the recession hit hard and
Oh man.
my business took a hit. My marriage took a hit. So after 26 years, my wife decided to leave.
Yeah.
And I was really shook by that, Dr. Brett. I mean, I was really, really, really shook. And I remember being in this little apartment. I left my home and I'm in this apartment with like no furniture. And my older sister calls me up and she goes, "Hey, what are you up to?" And she knew I was going through a rough time. And my answer was, "I'm dancing." She goes, "What do you mean you're dancing? Who are you dancing with?" I said, "Me." Because what I was actually doing at the time, I had lit some candles. It's about all I had, put on some music, and I danced. I made the choice to not feel sorry for myself, to not be angry and feel like a victim or want revenge or feel cheated. I just decided I'm going to feel good. And within 2 years, everything I'd lost was back. I had some of the most successful projects and books in
Yeah.
my career because I let go of grief and anger and fear and doubt, which is the very thing I teach and write about. And I tuned into a different channel, so to speak, vibrationally, a channel of inspiration, in spirit, meaning fearlessness. I put a lot of attention into my health and well-being physically and
Hmm.
emotionally and my work. And it was miraculous how quickly things changed. But the point of the story is I danced. I didn't curl up on the couch and put on some meaningless show and bury myself in grief,
And
you
chocolate.
know, in chocolate or anything else. I mean, it was a moment of um, joy, believe it or not. And again, the point there is that we can choose joy
Yeah.
anytime we want. And what it requires is that we change our thinking. And this is where the law of attraction gets confusing because people think all I have to do is think it. And
Yeah.
no, I'm saying no, you have to feel it.
Yeah.
And if you say, let's just say somebody wants to lose 10 pounds and they say, to the universe, okay, I really want to lose 10 pounds. And I set a goal and I start going to the gym and I work and I work and I work and it's not happening. Here's why. Because if I'm thinking I have to lose 10 pounds because I'm fat or because there's something, wrong with me, or people they'll think more of me, it's not going to happen. If instead I set a target weight and I am going to weigh a certain amount, let's say 120 pounds, my target's 120 pounds. And it's not because I'm fat. It's not because there's anything wrong with me. It's not because I'm unworthy. It's because that's my target and I'm on my way.
Yeah.
I'm and I feel good going to the gym because I'm on my way to what I want. I'm already on my way and I feel good about that. If instead I think I'll feel good when I get there, it's going to elude us over and over
Yeah.
again. It's always about how you feel right now. Your mind's going to wander. If it wanders to the past and you feel bad for any reason because of something that happened in the past, you're asking for more bad. If you think the future and you think, oh, you get anxious because you have to do something important, you feel bad in any kind of way. You feel bad in the now because your mind's thinking of something in the future that makes you feel bad. You're asking for more bad. This is all about being mindful of how you feel every
Yeah.
moment of every day. And you have the power to change that by changing what you focus on. We become what we dwell on. So if I dwell
Instantaneously,
on
though.
whatever, I'm
Yeah.
on my way to whatever.
Just like the leave situation. But listen, this is such a perfect thing to talk about. We're going to take a short break, John. But I want to talk about something when we come back that happened to me yesterday that's perfect because I didn't catch myself. I mean, 2 days of what you just said right there about the whole thinking and that until I got to a point. And once I got to that point, something very interesting happened, and it was very important. But as much as I know, I'm still human, and it takes a while to catch myself or to have somebody point out to me, man, the energy you're bringing in to trying to find a person like that, that's it's not what you're building. So let's take a short break because there are things in everyone's life. And by the way, 2009, we could have been twins. The whole relationship thing, I had chronic Lyme disease. But what kept me going, that was for me. I had started the radio and I was doing 14 hours a week, and the audience was amazing. They were unemployed. They had started to tune in by the tens of thousands. And if it wasn't for that and their encouragement to start the network we started, didn't start it for me. It started before just the love of these people. And I didn't quite know what to do. And what showed up wasn't anything I planned. Let's take a short break. But before we do, what's your website, John? What is the best way to follow you?
Yeah, my website's johnjmurphy.org. And from that website, you can find my YouTube channel where I've got a couple hundred uh, tips, quick little videos that are free. I'm easy to find on social media as author John J. Murphy, and on LinkedIn, John J. Murphy Mystic.
Yeah. When we come back, how do we apply these things? How is John going to help so that you don't spend like the 2, 3, 4, actually it was longer than 2 days. So you don't spend days with that energy of whatever that is, anger, angst, anxiety, all of that. What can we learn about this? Because if you could learn this and you hear some of the stories, not just by John and I, but by people we know we work with, you're going to understand that this is not going to be a pathway of frustration. So when we come back, fasten your seatbelt, and I'm going to tell you how to pick a good lawyer. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Welcome back. So I love that intro. Every time I hear that intro, I remember, John, you and I working on that intro for the show, right? Because this is the Change Mastery Show with John J. Murphy and me, Dr. Pat. But I remember working on that. And just like, first of all, the recording you did, the voiceover work was like instantaneous. But then we found this music, and I can't stop smiling like about the music, right? Because you see, that is a thing that you do, and if you don't do that from the heart, you don't get the smiling result, do you?
Nope,
No,
nope, something different.
something different. So this now we're going to talk, right, and this is so important because this is what didn't happen back in the 2000 whatever year that was. I don't even know, five, whatever. We didn't talk about how to work with the laws, how to understand them. People had an expectation that was so mind focused, thought focused. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that was their all in one eggs in the basket. And during break, I was telling you, I was in search of finding a great lawyer. I needed a great lawyer out in New York. I don't live in New York anymore. And I went through a process, and it was a long process, but my heart wasn't where you said. And I went through at least 50 conversations and they didn't feel right. And I shifted. And I said, I'm not looking anymore. I'm going to look these people up, but I want to just admire what they did in the world. And I found this one gentleman out of Brooklyn. And I read why he was passionate about what I needed. Called him, had a conversation. And within that conversation, I found for myself relief in my heart, not in my mind. And I made a decision based on that. Now, let's talk about how people can go about this. So, John, they don't spend 2 days and 2 weeks not
Mhm.
sleeping at night and all that, right? Because what you're saying is we don't have to do that.
That's right. And if we are doing that, we need to get to root cause. I'm a business consultant. I teach root cause analysis, and a lot of times, somebody will say, "I have a problem, John," and I'll say, "So what is it? Can you prove it?" And what do you mean, can I prove it? I go, well, if you can't prove you have a problem, then you probably don't. So it starts with let's not assume, let's get facts and data. Now let's assume they have facts and data. And they say, yeah, no, in business, our customers are mad at us. We've got facts and data and scores and all this kind of stuff. And then I'll say, that's not the problem. And they're like, what do you mean? That's not the problem. Of course, it's the problem. We have facts and data, and the customers are mad at us. The problem is, why are they mad at you? That's the real problem. That means the root cause. So let's find out what the root cause is, because otherwise you're just putting aspirin, for headaches. You're just putting band-aids on things. Get to root cause and you solve problems in a sustainable way. They're gone. So when we get to the root cause of what we're talking about, it boils down to inner programming. We're all programmed, and we've talked about this before, and most of our programming is by the age of 6. It gets deep into our subconscious and they become beliefs, and they could be something. I grew up with this belief initially, like I'm not worthy. I said it every week in church. You know, I, I just began to believe, well, I'm not worthy. And add that to my name's Murphy, as in Murphy's Law, and I was born on Friday the 13th. And I've had all kinds of accidents. I've been in and out of the hospital, I don't know how many times. You start to think, well, I'm not worthy. And if you have that kind of programming for any reason, and it's you might not even know you have it, but it plays out in your results. We reap what we sow. So if I'm not getting good results in life, and I'm bitter and I'm angry and I'm in a job that feels like a dead end, and I'm not happy with my body, I don't really feel good about myself. You got to get to root cause, and root cause is usually a deep uh, program in your subconscious mind, or more than one. And it's at that level that you get real change mastery, so to speak. So, and it's not about adding more. In most cases, it's about deleting. What I need to do is find out what's getting in my way and delete it, not add more effort, add more schooling, add more stuff on top of it. I need to step back and delete. It's counterintuitive and paradoxical, which is precisely why most of the people in the world don't get it, because it means instead of working harder, stop and pause. Instead of doing more, stop and do less. It's instead of adding, subtract. It's the opposite direction. So it's not about putting your head down and working harder to make more money to someday retire and play golf and then be happy. I think that's nonsense. If you love what you're doing every day, whether it's a lawyer or a doctor, and you're helping the world, you're helping people out, you're doing something you just love, that's obviously a different feeling than I'm doing this just for a paycheck. And you know, if you're going to the gym because you love the fact that you're exercising your body and you're treating it well and you're on your way to a target, that's a very different feeling than you see when I go to the gym almost every day and I see people in there and they hate it. Can't stand being there. Oh my God, this is so much work, and I'm enjoying it. So it's like, how do you feel at any given time? And that should tell you something significant in terms of what you're on your way to in terms of an outcome. Because if you don't feel good now, what makes you think your outcome's gonna feel good?
Yeah,
You're,
I love this. You're talking about the gym. Look, here's the thing. There are some people that you and I know that love to feel good in their bodies. That's their reason. That they go do the lifting of the weights or whatever whatever people do. It's so fascinating because you said something and a light bulb went on with me. I've got a piece of equipment in the garage and I wanted to get rid of it a year ago. And the advice or the information is, no, don't get rid of it, just use it. You don't need one of those home gyms. And I said, I've always I resistance band training or resist. it's just my body doesn't like it. I mean, I've tried to make it like it. So here I am the other day, and I get on the thing and I'm doing resistance training. My body did not like those bands. It doesn't like it. But if you put me on a home gym and you have me do leg presses, I mean, that is the way I trained as an athlete. I love it. Cranking up that music, and I love it. But yet, trying to please other people, let's talk about that because it's all part of the frustration. Now, there's a very fundamental difference between helping other people or listening to other people because you want to and it gives you joy, or doing it because of the shoulds. Let's talk about these universal laws and some of the energies that go into just cutting off that those things in our heart that we truly want to show up, John.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, it's paying attention to feelings every moment of every day, just and realizing I have the power. True empowerment means that I have the knowledge that I have the power to change my outlook on things. And it could be a person that annoys you. And so you start to see beyond the part that annoys you to this person's struggling with something. This person is in pain.
Yeah.
This person's ignorant. They just don't know any better. They're not even aware that they are annoying. So maybe there's a better strategy in terms of dealing with them than, fighting back, and turning it into a bigger problem.
Oh my
So if we're
God.
just mindful, about how we feel, and there's an old saying, you can't, you're not going to have a joyful ending to an unhappy or an unjoyful journey. So, I believe that, we have an opportunity in life to grow and prosper, just like a flower grows and blossoms. And we don't have to work hard at that, but we have to be in the right environment. We have to be, you're not going to grow a tulip in Antarctica. That's not a good fit. So we really have to think about, where do we fit in well? What kind of a culture and environment is going to bring out the best in me? And that's where a lot of people need to make a change in terms of their job or their career. Because if you just don't, you work hard and even if you're good at it. I mean, I was good at finance. I was good at math and numbers and really good at
I
it.
know.
I just didn't want to do it for the rest of my life in a cubbyhole or make my way up through
Mm.
that particular paradigm. I had to get out of that box completely. So, and I often say, you've heard me say this, it doesn't do a lot of good to solve problems inside a box when it's the box that's the problem. In this case, it was the whole idea of get the degree and wear a suit and tie and show up and get a nice briefcase for Christmas and follow the rules and that's success.
I know.
Not for
I
me.
I even got a tie. So after 10 years of researching the consequences of psychological contract violation, I have 1,200 pages of interview notes still that a publisher wants me to publish. Now I'm in a better state now, and I know it will help if I do that now. But here I was, and I was offered all these big fat jobs because won awards, postdoctorate won awards, got to be one of the major aircraft companies to be in the survey, blah, 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 all that. And John, I knew too much. And it wasn't the easiest thing, but yet it was because what I felt was what led me to not take that big fat $250,000 job. And
Hmm.
yet, my friends who thought I was crazy literally got me a man's tie and said, "This is for your new job." I'm like, what don't you get? Why do I want to go back in the box? See, I had studied the box from the
Hmm.
outside. So I didn't want to go back in the box because I wasn't going to be able to change it from the inside of the box. But
Yeah.
people thought I lost it, John. They really did. But I didn't. I found it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it's very important to pay attention to who you are paying attention to and spending time with. And I think one of the most important things anyone can do is to surround themselves with positivity
Yeah.
because you turn on the news, everybody knows this, and all you hear is bad news here and there, and the world's falling apart. And if you tune into that vibration, you tune in, and that makes you feel anxious, that makes you feel angry. I've had people say, I can't wait to get till next July to get out of this country for a vacation.
Oh,
That's really, I'm not going to come to Florida because of who's the governor or something like that. I mean, so that you can just imagine that mindset of
mhm.
bitterness and divisiveness. Surround yourself with positive people. And by the way, it might just be somebody. I was in the gym the other day and there was a guy in there and he's like, man, getting old sucks, getting old, it's terrible. And I said, I kind of like it. And he's like, what? What? I go, I like it. My life just keeps getting better and better. So,
Exactly.
but you're challenging. I just won't tolerate being around people who complain a lot and
I
just they find
agree.
some that energy just doesn't work for me. So I just walk away, or I'll subtly, respectfully challenge it, just saying, I see it differently, you
Yeah.
know.
There's
Um,
another energy I want you to talk about, though, especially along those lines. It isn't always that, but it's also sometimes the energy that people bring into a simple conversation or question. You can feel the edge and anger in a response. When somebody says to you something like, I told you that 4 times, really? And you want me to tell you again? Yeah, I do. But so part of that, we're willing to take that and one, not say anything, but it's equally destructive. It's not just the box that you put yourself in, but it's the box we put ourselves outside of that. Part of what you teach is one, to let go.
I well, here's the way, my first response to that is somebody says, I've told you 4 times. I might just say, well, I usually get it around the fifth time.
I like that one.
Because with just a little bit of creativity and humor, you diffuse this,
Yeah,
this attack kind of approach. And so we have to remember that being responsible means to be responsible. And so we can think before we speak, before we respond, I call minding the gap or managing the gap and being thoughtful about how we respond. So I mean, that's first of all, what I would say is just, is there a way to um, diffuse it? In the martial arts, it's about deflection. And people write nasty texts, nasty emails, they say nasty things. Um, you don't have to let that bother
yeah,
you. Here's the thing, again, because you are allowing something external to affect your joy. That's attachment. We talked earlier about detachment. So there's a term I use, imperturbability. And when you are imperturbable, nothing external bothers you. You don't allow it. And in terms of a methodology for people to find this level of inner peace, I teach the ring of peace, the 4 steps. And I've been practicing those for many years and I continue to. So you start with let be. Step one is you can't change what is, so let it be and learn from it. This person that's criticizing you, let it be. Let them criticize you. You don't have to, you know, uh, respond and fight. Just what if you agreed? I've had, what my ex-wife would say to me, you're an idiot and I'm smarter than you are. And I'd say, okay, what's your point? Why argue about that? Who's smarter? It doesn't matter, So let be. And then the second step, let go, is where we just release resistance. Because if we want to flow with divine source, let go of resistance and excuses. I could never do that. And, those people over there with all that money, they're snobby. You're resisting Okay. And that's another paradoxical, counterintuitive move that when we feel like we're drowning, what do? We hang on tighter, we cling. No, let go. Free fall. I know you skydive. Let
Yeah.
it go, you
Yeah.
know? And so when we let go, we start to see everything differently, including our own selves. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm stronger than I thought I was. I'm more creative than I thought I was. I'm more powerful than I thought I was. Wow. And so now I just steer that into that let flow stage. So let be, let go, let see, and let flow. And each time we go around this ring of peace, and it's an iterative process, turn it 90 degrees, and each time we go around it, the higher we
Yeah.
ascend. So we just become more and more joyful, more and more wise, more and more helpful to the world because people don't they see you as a wow. I mean, how do you do that? You know, and their assumption might be, well, you never have anything go wrong in your life. You've never
Oh,
had this. And by the way, that's another form of resistance. The yeah, buts. Well, yeah, but I've got this relationship that's a mess. You and I can both talk about that all day.
we do
Or
a whole show on that thing.
I've got this job that's a dead end. Tell me about it. I've got this injury. I've had more injuries that I won't even want to talk about. I know you have too. And so these excuses, yeah, buts. I call them the yeah, buts. You're just getting in your own way
Yeah.
when you make excuses to why you can't live a more joyful life. You're
Yeah.
just getting in your own way. I don't mean that to sound as a criticism to anybody, but it's a reality. It's a reality. You're designed for flow. I love science and statistics, and I love this one. We have over 50 trillion cells in our body. Each cell does 6 trillion things per second. Inside cells are molecules. Inside molecules are atoms. Inside an atom is empty space for the most part. So the human body, the very fact that we're sitting here having a conversation is a total miracle.
No kidding.
And when you start to realize we're not human beings, we are energy beings, we are
Yeah.
spiritual beings, and we are a blessing, every one of us. And we're here on this planet for a reason, a purpose. And the closer we can get to uncovering what that purpose is and align with it, the more joyful and,
Yeah.
and prosperous our lives. So it's really about alignment. And I use the Ring of Peace to do that, to let be and take inventory and learn from what's going on around me, let go of distractions and clutter and find my way to my real purpose and see with vision what it is I want to manifest. Aristotle once said the soul, uh, it says, what did Errol, he said, your soul never thinks without a picture. Your
Yeah.
soul never thinks without a picture. So I ask people, what's your picture? What's your picture? Einstein said, imagination is everything. It gives you a preview of what's to come.
Hmm.
What do you imagine about yourself? What if you were going to write a, a biography or write about yourself 10 years from now, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, professionally, spiritually, detail what are you doing? What are you feeling? What do you look like
I love it.
10 years from now? What picture is that? By
I
the way,
love that.
I've gone back decades and done this.
I love it. And
Yeah.
what I love about this is this now leads us probably to our next episode. Because you see, and for all of you out here, please try, please do this. Do what John said. There's no right or wrong. John, thank you for today. What a great show. Thank you for everything. And I am really thinking about that 10 pounds very differently right now. Thank you for everything, John. And again, we'll be back with another episode. For all of you out there, if you want us to really look at a topic of interest to you, just send an email to comments at thedrpatshow.com. or call our 800 number. Whatever that works for you, we're here for you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Change Mastery Show with John J. Murphy, an opportunity to uncover, explore, and experience the path of transformation and illumination. Join Dr. Pat and me on the second Wednesday of every month at 11 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. Never miss an episode. Subscribe, like, and share with your friends. Connect with me on social media. And for questions, comments, or to explore my books and services, visit johnjmurphy.org. Until next time, be the change you want to see in the world.